So since you talked about a book yesterday, I think I'm going to talk about books today too. So that book looks like a thing I definitely need to hunt down and read. I think that makes 5 books on my list to find that are from your recommendations. Yeah. Being in a bookstore is dangerous for me, and apparently being friends with someone who works in a bookstore is dangerous for me too. So, yeah. My shelf of books to read that I physically own has 31 books on it. But since you actually talked about a specific book, I figured I would talk about some specific books as well. I don't have all of the books by this writer, but the 4th one is on its way to me. This is my collection so far of books by, I hope I pronounce this correctly, Ash Vernon, I think. So I want to talk a little bit about how amazing Ash's poetry is. Oh my word. I could read their poems forever. There's a lot of samples of their work on their Tumblr, which I will link in the description if you want to check it out. It's absolutely beautiful work. One of them was a major inspiration for my novel that I've been working on forever. And yeah, I actually have a handwritten copy of that poem. It's called Old Souls. I might just straight up link to that poem as well, just so you can find it. That poem is actually in Belly of the Beast, I discovered, which is pretty cool. So the first one of Ash's books that I got was actually this one. My mother didn't know. This was a limited release for Valentine's Day. I think it was Valentine's Day this year, so you cannot get hard copies of it anymore. It was seriously a miracle that I managed to get one, because I didn't have the money right around the time of Valentine's Day, and then they posted, they were like, hey, I've got like 20 copies of this that didn't sell, if anybody's interested. And so I snapped it up, and then it proceeded to get lost in the mail. It turned out the address had been written incorrectly or something. It wasn't a big deal, and eventually it came back around, returned to sender, and they were able to send it to me, and it actually got here. And these limited run, like, leftover books weren't supposed to be anything special, just that they were hard copies of this book. But I think in part because of the mix-up with the Postal Service and all of that stuff, they signed it for me and dedicated it. It said, Sarah, nothing would be the same without you. And then signature. And, oh my goodness, I'm such a fangirl. Oh my goodness. The second one I got was Belly of the Beast, which I love this art so much. It's so cool. This book, you guys, oh, it's so good. I don't even really know how to talk about it without just exclaiming over some of the poems that I love the most. They're all so beautiful. Some of them actually made me cry, and oh my goodness, it just, I love it. I love it so much. It's so good. Everything this person writes is good. Last, but definitely not least, is the most recent release. This just came out, and I finally got my copy of it. This book is a collection of narrative poetry. It is a conversation between the boatman on the river Styx and a woman who wants to die. It started out as a screenplay, slowly adapted it into poetry, and it is so good. My thoughts are stars I cannot fathom into constellations. I can't handle this. It's so good. I need to read it like 17 more times, and then maybe I'll have some idea what I'm talking about. Basically, you need to read this book. Go take a look on Ash's blog. If you like Ash's poetry, then definitely think about getting this book, because it is so good. It's different from the other books because it's narrative poetry instead of just a collection. But, oh my goodness. So good. So good. I will also link to where you can get this online if you are interested. That link is also available in several posts on Ash's blog, but I will make it easy for you. Go do the thing. It is amazing, and they would appreciate having more people look into this book, I am sure. And anyway, if I managed to fit all that into 5 minutes, it's miraculous, because I kind of have a tendency to gush when I love something, which I do with these books. But I guess we'll see what happened with that. That's all I have to say for today, and I will see you tomorrow. Goodbye.